I'm not, and then I'm gonna go and PJ Jones, right?
PJ Jones, yes.
Okay. Hi guys, so today we have a very special guest, PJ Jones. She is all the way from Costa Rica. And PJ Jones is actually motivational strategist, life coach. She's very organizing summits and events. I'm gonna let you, PG, to introduce because you do so many things, you wear so many hats, and it's so difficult to reach you. I have to go all around through different people to get you in this community to share your experience. Please, the stage is yours, and thank you so much for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself better than I did?
Oh, worries. Thank you, Ingrida. How do you say your name? Is it Ingrida?
Perfect. Yeah, Ingrida. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got
Um,
it.
I am PJ. I am an empowered motivational strategist. Basically, what I do is I am a coach for trauma survivors, also for individuals who suffer from the loss of a child, because as I have lost a child, so I deal with grief, and I also deal with trauma first with trauma survivors because I myself am a survivor of trauma. I've overcome generational trauma. I've overcome childhood trauma. I've overcome domestic violence, sexual assault. You just name again, I've lost a child, grief, you name it, I've kind of dealt with it. I've learned a lot in this life about what I should and should not do when it comes to dealing with trauma and grief. For so many years, I didn't have a support system, so I was just surviving. I wasn't thriving. I made sure that I did everything on paper that looked good. I went to college, I got degrees, I had the good jobs, but I didn't take care of myself. So I had to learn how to take care of myself because even though I had all of these credentials, I had my family, I was out of the trauma. Um, I'm not going to say got over the loss of my son, but I learned how to live without my son, and I was still very much unhappy. I didn't seek any therapy for about a year after I lost my son, which should have actually happened before I lost my son because of me leaving a very violent, domestically violent relationship and a very violent childhood with a mother who was struggled from substance abuse. So I just basically I kind of went through life riding the wave, going one day to the next, and until I lost my son was when I realized it wasn't right. I should not have been doing some of the things that I had been doing because I didn't know any better. I didn't have support. The support system I had was a couple of friends who probably needed therapy themselves. Let's go get drunk and go to the club. I still work though. I took care of my children. I am a really good mom. It's just I didn't have them in therapy. They didn't suffer from the abuse, but they saw the abuse. So just in a sense, they're victims of domestic violence as well. They didn't suffer from my mom's abuse, but they seen her drunk. They seen her act out. I've always been there to protect my children, but I didn't protect their emotional well-being by putting them in therapy. So when I lost my son and I was 100% alone, it was me and my two surviving children. Um, and I didn't have any support. I had to try to find a way to mourn him, but even during that time, I was being emotionally attacked. I was being bullied. I was being gaslit. I was being, and I was homeless, with my child. So I'm with my daughter. My son was in Job Corps, my younger son, and we were still trying to get over the loss of my son. And my aha moment was when I received his death certificate, and I had no one to call. I had nobody to call. I dropped out of college at this point because I was still in college to get my bachelor's degree. And once I dropped out of college, I just tried to focus on trying to get my mind back right. And then that time was when I decided that I needed to clear some doors. I needed to make some room for doors to be, I needed to close some doors so that I can allow other doors to open. So I cut off a lot of people that I thought were my friends, a lot of people that I thought were there for me and they were not. Um, and I started my healing journey. I had to first understand that the things that happened to me was not my fault. My mom beating me because my dad, I'm a product of of basically molestation and rape. My father was 46 years older than my mom, and he started molesting her when she was 8. My grandmother allowed it to happen, and years down the line, me and my sister were born out of that. And because she was abused so badly by my father and her mother, she didn't know how to be a mother. She didn't know how to deal with her trauma. So she started to drink. And that's when she started beating on me, running away. I started running away from home, being raped in the streets, being robbed, being jumped, being attacked, and eventually having to do what I needed to do to survive. And I met my ex-husband who was 7 years older than I was. I think I was 16 and he was an adult. And he used my vulnerability to try to sex traffic me, to rape me, to isolate me, to control me, to beat me, torture me, sodomize me. And during that time, he would not allow me to graduate high school. I had to sneak behind his back to go to school. I had to sneak behind his back. I am so sorry. I think behind his back. It's Costa Rica's loud, so I'm sorry about the background noise.
It's good because I think Zoom is filtering everything, so I can't hear it anything in the background. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just all of the things that I had to live through, I did it all alone. I was 14, homeless. I had nobody. Um, I was with my ex-husband. I had no one. My mom basically she condoned the violence that he did. She when I did try to get away a couple of times, she told him where I was. You know, I left, tried to leave the state. She told him where I was moving, so he was there. Um, and I was just trapped for years. So when I finally freed myself, and then I lost my son, you know. So after I freed myself, 6 years, I'm living this beautiful life of what I thought was a beautiful life because I worked. Again, I was able to finish school behind my ex-husband's back, so I did have my general education diploma. And so but I couldn't go to college. So when I was starting to go to college, it was huge for me. But when my son passed, I couldn't focus on the classes. I was, like I said, I was alone. During that time, I was with my current husband, but his family, they didn't really accept the relationship. So during the year, I call it my year of transformation. Um, I think we went to his hometown in January of 2017, and about a week after we got there, my son was killed in Anchorage, Alaska. Um, and that was when that year started. My ex-husband, my kid's biological father, who hadn't seen them in years, stole all of his funeral money, so we weren't able to bury him. There was just so much stuff going on. My mom told me I killed him because she was drunk, of course. My ex-husband told me I killed him, but he never even cared about his children. You know, my current husband is their father. He's the one who raised them. So, you know, he didn't even know much about my kids at all. So for these two to attack me, I at the time felt lost. So when I went through what I went through with that, and then we weren't married at the time, but my current husband's family literally attacked me in every way that they could think of, verbally and emotionally. Now there was no physical violence, but still, you know, narcissistic abuse is still real, and they very much were a narcissistic family, and it was hard. So I broke down. Um, I said, okay, I'm not going to talk to anyone. I isolated myself. I found comfort in my sister, my older sister, who we share the same father. So we kind of have similar stories. She just wasn't physically abused, but she went through a lot of the other abuse that we both went through with our mother. So me and her, basically, we had each other the best that we could. And a year of me going through what I went through in my husband's hometown, I couldn't take it anymore because again, I was alone, and it just kept coming. They wouldn't stop. Like they kept coming with insults. They kept trying to come between our relationship. They kept trying to get him to leave me. They succeeded once. They convinced him that it was best that we separate a few months after my son passed away, and him thinking that he was doing what was best for me. I was now in a city where I didn't know anyone and I was alone. Hi, Kitty. I was alone. And I was completely by myself. The one person that I thought was my friend, who I had known since middle school, she completely cut me off. She shunned me. She betrayed me. She put me in my. She was the reason why we were homeless. She kicked us out maybe a week after my son died. Um, So like I said, that was my year of transformation. I had to cut ties with a lot of people, restart my entire journey. And that's when I went to therapy maybe a year or so after my son was born. I mean, not was born when he passed. Started going to therapy. Therapy
Mhm.
didn't necessarily work for me, but it helped me. It opened some doors on things that I should have been doing versus how I was dealing with my trauma. Um, I went to therapy and I finished college. I went back, I enrolled back in college. I obtained my bachelor's degree.
Mhm.
I got the jobs that I was supposed to get. I had the beautiful home, 2 cars, kids are grown and they have their own place. I'm in college for my master's degree. Everything looks good. COVID hits. And everything starts to, I mean, COVID really did not affect my family and myself. We kind of went through it really well, aside from the fact that my husband's mom, who had pre-existing conditions and she was an elderly, caught COVID. So we had to move back to his hometown, a place that I really hated because of what I had to go through the year I lost my son. When I moved to Texas, I was there with my sister, and I had that support. I had a friend there. I had more emotional support there than I did in St. Louis. That's where my husband was born. And so I had to go back to this place where I was isolated. I did not have any friends at the time. I had like maybe one friend. So I'm working and I've got my master's degree and I'm working and I'm feeling accomplished. I go back to school again. I to get another bachelor's and another master's degree. So I have 4 degrees total. I'm working for the government. I'm doing all these things, but I'm still depressed. I'm not happy. I'm in a place where I don't want to be. People start just passing away. I lose one of my favorite cousins, one of the only people that actually loved me when I was growing up. Then my uncle, one of the only people who tried to protect me, he passed away. And I'm stuck in this place. I can't get to them because of my job and and I still hearing things from his family, making little comments, making little inappropriate jokes. They're not as bad and it's not as consistent as before, but little jokes like I had a granddaughter, yay, in Texas, and there was a joke made about her that was inappropriate. It's not really. It would really bother people if I told the joke, but she wasn't even 6 months old, and it's like, why would you even think to say something like that about a child? But they just say whatever they want, and so I was like not happy about being back in this place where I had nobody. So I think like I said, I had maybe 2 friends and no support system. So I tried to in my life, even though again I have these jobs that are on paper really good, but working for the government is not easy. It's not easy at all. And I wanted to help, but at the end of the day, I wasn't allowed to help because there are so many restrictions when you're working for the government that you can't do much. So on top of that, all of the pressure, the depression of me not being somewhere that I didn't want to be, feeling isolated and alone, I tried to take my life. At that point, I met Dr. Robin. She's a therapist, but she does hers in a different way. She has more of a life coaching style. So she introduced me to journaling. She introduced me to breath work. She introduced me to meditation. She introduced me to affirmations and reframing. She introduced me to all of these things that helped me really understand what healing looked like. Was it easy? No, I had to write letters to my mom. She encouraged me to write a book, which is actually published. It's called A Place to Belong by Perry Jasper. And I didn't expect to write the book. It just started off with me writing a letter. You write the letters and you burn them. It was supposed to be that. But I ended up writing an entire book. She taught me that my story was not anything to be ashamed of and showed me how I was actually stronger than I thought, which is like the things that I've gone through, like 14 being sexually assaulted by 5 guys, you know. Um, a lot of people can't live through that. A lot of people can't survive that. And I've not only survived that, I survived that and had enough strength to finish college and still try to live a decent life. So once I started sharing my story, I started feeling more comfortable sharing my story, but I also start feeling the healing that comes with releasing all of the negative energy that I was holding inside because I'm holding on to all of this trauma. So I decided, okay, well, let me start to do this on another platform. That's when I started to create my YouTube channel, my podcast, my life coaching business. But that wasn't enough. I said, okay, what else can I do? There are other survivors here who they have different stories. A lot of them are like mine, but everyone's story is different. I've had people on my show who's overcome strokes, who's been shot, who's been shot by serial snipers. I've had all different types of trauma on my show, and I wanted to use not just my voice, but their voices as well to help a community of individuals who are struggling, who's drowning the way I was drowning and didn't know that there are other people out there like them who knows what their struggle is and who can help them overcome that. So like even like just today, I created an app, a daily gratitude app, so that anyone, because I have a support group for domestic violence survivors and sexual assault survivors. It's called Unbroken Circle. Anyone who joins that group, which is a free group, it's all you need to do is register, and you are welcome to join. It's 7 p.m. 6 p.m. I have to change the date. 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so Chicago time. And with that, you get free resources. I'll give you any journaling material that I have, including the app that I just created. And I will teach you techniques that I learned on how to heal. But this is also a group for them to share their stories so that they and actually make connections within each other, so this community can grow, because we need each other to heal, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I allow my story to take me. And a lot of people ask, like, do you regret what you went through? At first I said yes. If I could go back and change it, I would change this and I would change that. I would not change one thing. Not one thing. And unfortunately, that also includes losing my son, because if I have to believe that it was not meant for him to be here today. Everything works the way it's supposed to work. I hate that that included losing the people that I love, because I just lost my grandmother last year, no, 2 years ago. Well, I think, a year and a half ago, I lost my grandmother. And even though she was a source of abuse for my mom, she treated me with love. My father, who was a source of abuse for my mom, treated me with love. So when they passed away, it affected me in a way that it didn't affect her, because I love my family. They treated me well. Well, those people, because other people, my family, they abused me as well. Just so that's a different story. Like my aunt, she poisoned me when I was 2 days old, and I was in the hospital dying for 10 months. So like I've gone through so much. By the time I was 5, I had my ribs broken. So my grandmother and my father, my birth father, were the only 2 adults in my life that protected me and showed me love. Um, when a lot of my cousins and my aunts and uncles were being cruel to me because of who my father was, which I had no control over. I didn't even know who he was until I was 9. I didn't know he was my father until I was 9, even though my mom made us live with him. She let us go on vacation with him. We've gone out of town to different states with him, visit his family. We didn't know why. And then we found out later that it was because he's our dad and we were visiting our family. So, there was just so much stuff that went along with that. And I'm wanting to use my voice to help others who have gone through similar things know that these things are not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You are strong. It takes a strong person to be able to endure and live through that. And then every day we get up wanting to please our abusers, because we want them to be happy so they won't abuse us. We wake up with the strength to get up and fix them. I was getting up at 5 in the morning to cook breakfast, cooking lunch, cooking dinner, because I cook a lot, cleaning the house, taking care of my children, working, being abused by my ex-husband, being sodomized and raped and beat, and still getting up and going to work every day with a smile on my face. Most people who know me will not know that I've gone through this, because even when I was in the abuse, I walked out that house, I put my mask on my face and I smiled it away. And that's why I wanted to open these doors for everyone else, again, because you don't have to smile it away. You don't have to wear a mask. But the days you want to cry and do the ugly cry, I'll ugly cry with you, So that's what I do. That's what I'm about. I'm about basically healing a community that they thought was broken, but was just a little bent.
Oh my gosh, PJ, this is such a I even don't know the words to describe the story, like how much one person can handle in terms of abuse. I just, oh my gosh, so my love to you for surviving
Thank
and
you.
being here and now doing amazing things for all of us with pure love. There's nothing, how long did it take for you to actually heal? And is it possible to heal 100%, or is it still something there that you need to do the healing?
I'm healing every day. I'm healing every day. But to get to this point, I'm gonna say I didn't get to this point until maybe about 6 or 7 months ago. Because even though I was still going through things, I was still in St. Louis. When I moved to Costa Rica, that's when I was able to heal. I had to get out of that toxic environment. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from everything that's familiar to you and go somewhere where I don't even know the language here, but I'm happier here than I have been anywhere I've ever lived. And that's when I can say I actually started to feel the healing. So I'm 40. I'm not ashamed of my age, everyone. I'm 45 years old. I'll be 46 June 1st. So I'm gonna say it took me about 44 years, 44, 45 years to actually start feeling the healing that I was supposed to feel. Um, I felt a little bit of it when I was working with Dr. Robin in St. Louis, but it was, like I said, it wasn't until I removed myself from everything that I had to look at negatively. And now things don't trigger me as much as they used to. Like when my mom called me drunk, because she still would call me drunk. And before I used to just get so upset. And I still let it bother me a little bit, but I'll go in the kitchen and cook. I'll vent to my husband for a few minutes and then we're past it. I set boundaries. Oh, I love that word. Boundaries is a beautiful thing. And it does not mean you are selfish. It means you love yourself. And the boundaries that I'm going to set for myself is not going to do anything to harm you. If you can't go a conversation with me without cursing at me, then you're not respecting my boundaries. Then I don't need to talk to you. If you're going to bring negativity in my life, I don't need to talk to you. The people pleasing, I released that a long time ago, and that has helped me so much because that's what's kept me so down. I've always wanted everybody to love me because I never felt love, but I had to learn to love myself. And it's every day. Every day is a fight. Every day is a fight, especially losing your child. Like I'll never get over losing my son ever. That's a trauma that I think I'll die with. But I have my good days. I have my bad days. I have my triggers with the trauma, the abuse that I sustained. When my mom calls me drunk, that is an automatic trigger. But I handle my triggers better. I do my breath work. I have my app now. I can start going into my journaling more.
And PJ, sorry for interrupting. Do you mind when we finish this conversation to share it in the comments your app and where people can find you um, to support?
Okay, I can share it in my app. Mom, you can just go to my website. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
In the
I'm
comments
putting
when we finish, yeah, so that people can
yeah.
find if you don't mind, or you can send it to
You
me
don't
and
mind.
I'll share it. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I can have Marcellus send you the links to
Perfect.
my
Yeah.
app because he has it right
We'll
now.
arrange that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
And he
great.
can do that for
Exactly.
me
Good.
because I really would love to spread this message because again, I
Absolutely.
do have paid coaching services, but I also offer free services because I know not everyone has the ability to pay. And that was one of my biggest problems was I had to pay for a lot of help if I even received help. I've had Child Protective Services close the door in my face when I knocked on the door and showed them my beat up face from what my mom's done to me. I've had the police officers tell me there's nothing I can do when they see that my ex-husband slit my throat. So, or when he kidnapped my children from school. And there's a lot of things my biggest thing was feeling alone. I had no one. I had no one. I mean, and as much as my husband, my current husband, Marcellus wanted to be, he's really new to abuse and trauma. He didn't know what to do. I actually that's one of the things that I want to do now. My next project. Well, actually, my next project is helping children understand the emotions that they're experiencing when they live with parents who struggle from domestic violence and abuse. We have a cartoon that we're actually working on now that's going to go on my YouTube channel, and I have another show called I Survived Domestic Violence, where it's just survivors talking about how they survive domestic violence. But I also want to incorporate a support group for individuals who are in relationships with trauma survivors, because that is something that a lot of people don't, you get with someone and everything's fine, and you find out that they've gone through 20 years of trauma. They've been raped, they've been beat, they've been shot, they've been stabbed, they have all this PTSD, and you don't know what to do with them. And that's kind of what my husband was going through. He was like, I've never even known anyone that's gone through this much trauma before. I don't know what to do. So that's kind of what this is helping him. I'm trying to get him to start a podcast. I want him to do it. I'm going to help him. Fingers crossed. Because this is something that it doesn't just touch survivors. It touches their loved ones, their children. I want to start one for children who are like my children are the children of someone who survived trauma. They watched me go through domestic violence, but they're also children of someone who survived trauma. They didn't know how to help me. So my goal is now to help everyone. That's I know I can't save the world, but I'm gonna do the best I can to try to save as many as I can.
You definitely can do that. And you have that passion in you to help when you talk with a passion. By helping others, you do help yourself, don't you?
Yes, yes, very much, very, very much.
Mm.
If my thing is if it's just one person, if I help one person, my job is done. But I mean, if I can help 100 people, that would be even better. A million would be even better. But just we got to start with
Stunning.
that one.
It's
It's
also
coming.
the one. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Such a beautiful, beautiful story. And BJ, would you like to share where people can find you? So we will be sharing your website. What else do you do that you would like maybe to touch a little bit?
Okay. You can find my website is www.soulfulresiliencejourney.com. It's super, super easy. Again, I'll have Marcellus email you that. But my podcast is on my YouTube channel, Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors. That's my channel, my network, and my YouTube comes my you not YouTube. My podcast is every Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time, so that's Chicago time,
Mhm.
live. It's live, but you can always watch the replays on my network.
Mm.
My summit, I have them once. I have one in January, one in March, and then the next one is going to be in September. So I'll be posting about a lot of that on my website when those are going to be available. I'm still looking for speakers for my summit in
There
September.
you
So
go,
if you
guys.
know anyone
Speakers. Who are the speakers in here, and
who
which
are,
area of speakers you are looking for? Is that
I'm
in
looking.
trauma or the
Say that again.
the area of speakers? Which what type of speakers you're looking
So I'm looking for any leaders, anyone who's overcome trauma to become to do what I do, to become a leader in their field. So if you've had to come over some adversities and you did not allow that to break you, I would need leaders to help share their stories with individuals who may feel like they can't do it. I can't become an entrepreneur because I'm too broken. No, you're not. You're actually probably going to be the best at what you do because struggle. You know that when it gets hard, you have to get up. So that's what that next summit in September is about. It's my leadership conference again. I'm gonna have to have Marcellus give you everything. I thought he
yes,
did, but I
yes,
forgot to tell
yes,
him.
yes. And I'll do the
Um,
notes then. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Continue. Please continue because you want to say something.
Oh, no, no, no. That's that I have my link tree, and I write articles. I have a few articles in Brains magazine. I have a few articles in Medium magazine, and I on my LinkedIn. So PJ Jones is how you can reach me on Facebook. Same with LinkedIn, it's PJ Jones, and you can reach me on Soulful at PJ underscore at spelled out AT underscore Soulful Resilience on Instagram and on TikTok.
Wow,
But
you
honestly,
do. Perfect.
if you go to my website, there's links to everything. So
Perfect.
it's just start with the website or either my website or my link tree. Those are the two that has everything. Everything is connected to both of those. So if you get on my website, you can even access my link tree through my website. In my link tree has the access to my book where you can find it on Amazon. So it's just everything. And my app will be on my website and my link tree as well.
Brilliant. So everything in one place, easy to find it. And
Yes, ma'am.
PJ, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you hear these words, next level transformation, what's the first thing comes into your mind?
Next level transformation, growth, excitement, because I know that's where I'm going to be. I get excited because I'm like, that's the road I'm taking. I'm in my transformation, and the next level is like right there. So that's what I see. I get excited. The first thing that comes to my mind is excitement and giving thanks because I know it's already here. I don't even have to say I can't wait or I hope for it because I know it's already here. So I just get excited.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much, PJ. And before we wrap up, any final words for the audience that you would like to share?
Yes, just don't give up on yourself. No matter how down you feel, I've been at the bottom, literally at the bottom, and I clawed my way back up. But there is, as long as you have breath in your body, there's a possibility for you to climb yourself back up to the top. So love yourself, take care of yourself, and never, ever, ever give up on yourself, because when you give up on yourself, that is the only time you will fail.
Wow, what a powerful message. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you so much, PJ, for being here, for finding time to connect with us. And guys, yeah, and the notes gonna follow today or maybe tomorrow, and you will see where to find PJ to get help, especially if you have trauma, don't suffer, get help. Because this girl
Please.
is amazing. So much traumas, and look at you now, girl. Can we celebrate you?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you so much, PJ. I'm gonna
Thank you,
just please
Ingrida.
stay for 1 sec. I'm gonna stop the live. See you guys. And just 1 sec.